everybody, welcome to Julia and the Garden. I am Julia and today I'm very excited to do a tour of my potager for you. So this is actually my first potager tour of the season and it is the day before the summer solstice, so I'm calling it a summer solstice tour. If you want to see my planning for this garden and what it's looked like in past years, I will link those in the description box. This potager garden was established 4 years ago, so it'll be my 4th year gardening in this space. It's been shaping up to what I want it to look like, but I've had 2 children in those last 4 years, and so I've planted more or less of the space, depending what I'm able. A lot of it is planted up this year, and I'm very excited about it, so let's check it out. So this is the gate facing the house. Now, there is no gate right now. They are still inside where I am trying to fix them. Hopefully by the end of the season they will be up. But either way, this is where we are entering for today. We are facing directly west here. Okay, so let me just start with these beds over here. We've got, this bed is entirely flowers. So part of what a potager is to me is a mix of vegetable, herbs, and flowers. And I've been loving doing cut flowers. So a lot of these are experiments, but I have these gorgeous pansies flanking the way here. Violets, there's a couple different kinds in here. I believe there's Corsican violets and King Henry, I think, is one I had from Botanical Interest. If I think of what the other kind is, I will put it up here on the screen. Beyond that, I have a whole lot of Scabiosa or pincushion flowers, and these ones are just starting to bud up. So this is my first year growing these, and I'm really excited about them. But it related to the Scabiosa, or they might be a type of Scabiosa, is the star flowers here. So again, not quite budding up yet, but we're getting there. And those are actually grown for really cool seed pods, so that's exciting. This is Saponaria, that the white and the pink there. I direct seeded this, and this is what I've got. So only one lone pink one, but they sure are beautiful. Beyond that, I have bachelor's buttons. Now, it has been it's always windy here to some extent. We are on a ridge, but we've had some really big windstorms this year. And so I think they're kind of suffering for that. And I don't know if I should net them up, if that would help or not. So it is what it is. I should actually come out and pick them so they keep producing. But I've already picked a ton of these. They are beautiful. These I actually started in the fall. So they are cool flowers. And I put them in this bed last fall and they are doing great. So I will definitely put fall plant bachelor's buttons again. That worked really well. I had a little space behind them, so I did stick some stock that I had in here, but they're getting pretty shaded out by the bachelor's buttons. I mean, they are growing. I'll show you that one there, but you can see they're pretty well in the shade. And then this here is Blue Plurum, and this is also fall planted. And I'm really loving this. Lasts really long in arrangements. I've picked some of it for some arrangements already. And it lasts really long, and it just gives like that nice vibrant pop of green and yellow, kind of like it's just happy. It's happy. Beyond that, okay, I tried to plant Canterbury bells. And then I thought that this over here was, but it's obviously not. So I'm not sure what weed that is, but I'm letting it go and I might use it as cut flower, so we'll see. And I also stuck in here, once I realized the Canterbury bells weren't growing, some bells of Ireland, and these are actually just starting. I'm going to try not to get poked because they can get pokey. See that in there? I haven't harvested any of these yet, but this is my first year successfully growing them. I tried the year before last without success. But so yeah, that's great. And then I have some Ami here. Dara Ami, I don't know which one's the more specific name for that, but I think it's supposed to be kind of like a Queen Anne's lace related to carrot, but more of a chocolatey brown color. So those are just budding up there as well. I'm going to see my shadow over here. See if we can move. So over here, this just got planted today. So hopefully these seedlings will survive and the plants will start coming up. This is amaranth down at this end. So we've got Love Lives Bleeding, which is the red tasseled one, then Red Spike, Coral Fountains, which is another tassel one but coral colored, and Emerald Fountains, and then move into some Celosia here, and I just ended up mixing it all up. It waited so long to get in that about half of my Celosia seedlings had shriveled up, so I just took what I had and I mixed them together here, and hopefully it'll look pretty. we'll find out in a couple months, or I guess hopefully a couple weeks. So here in the back though, I did direct sow. Let me get out of the way again. We're backing up, we're moving back here. So over against the fence here, I planted some mini pumpkins and some small watermelons. So I've got baby blue pumpkins over there, which are supposed to be little white ones, some sugar baby watermelon, and then in the back over here, I'm in the way again, apologies. I have Jack B little pumpkins, which are little orange ones in front, and I'm hoping that those pumpkins and that watermelon, I can try to climb up the fence. So we're gonna see. It's a little heavier than things I've grown on the fence before, so we'll see how it goes. It's an experiment. In front of that, we have some beans, some bush beans, and these look like they are pinto beans, according to my label there. Thank goodness for the label. On either side of the gate, or what will be the gate, the opening here, I planted a mix of queen line zinnias. I love queen line zinnias. Oh my goodness. Zinnias. I love queen line zinnias. Last year I had a patch of a mix of them in one of my raised beds, and they were the thing I cut from the most. So I wanted to make sure to have a good patch of those. And this year there's a new variety that I saw, queen line peach, so that's mixed in here as well. My favorite so far has been the red. So we'll see. I made sure to have plenty of that. And I do have a little bit left over, so I'm hoping to put it in the orchard, which I'm planning on doing a separate tour for. So let's move down this way now. Back behind the queen line zinnias here against the fence, I actually put in peas. They're not sugar snap peas, they're the kind, you harvest potted peas, I guess. And I made a mistake. I put down earlier this spring, I mowed and I put down cardboard, and then I put the soil on top of that. And then I planted the peas directly there on top of the cardboard. And you can tell they're just lacking the nutrients they need. I should have dug underneath. So next year I will do it differently so that they have more access to what they need. And then I have planted in front of it, again, just sowed today, some more flower seeds. So I've got nasturtiums in here and some cosmos seeds that I put in as well. And you will see I stuck some chard that I had. So they're just little chard surprises, I guess, dotted about. Before I go down, so that takes us to where the landscape fabric starts there, but before I go down there, let's do this raised bed here. So again, we have the violets on the side there. Beyond that, I have nigella, and I sowed nigella many times. I sowed it in the fall to see if I could do a fall planting, and I've heard that it likes to be direct seeded, so I've only tried direct seeding it. And then I did 2 different rounds of trying to sow it this spring, and I just did not have a lot of luck with the nigella sprouting and germinating. So when I was at a nursery, I did pick up some starts. So you can see the bigger plants there actually starts. But when I went to put them in, I did see finally some little sprouts coming up. So I actually put the transplants in where there wasn't sprouts coming up, and then in between I have some. So hopefully we'll get a bunch of nigella. I don't know what type the transplants are, to be honest. And I'm sure that they're different than the ones I put in. So it'll be a nice mix there. Here I have some dianthus, that's Sweet William. And I think, let's see, this might be white. Yes, Sweet White. And then I also have a Sweet Purple with White on the other side, and then an Electron blend. Last time I planted this, were these fall sown? I think these ones that are blooming might have been fall sown because I did try to fall sow them. Actually, now, I'm just noticing now, I don't know if you can see, it looks like the ones on that side also have buds. So we will see. I'll have to keep giving you tours, try to do them regularly so you can see what happens. This is some helichrysum I picked up at a nursery to fill in. I had some issues in this spot with things not surviving. So you can see some Iceland poppies over there. A lot of them did not take very well. I tried both direct seeding and transplanting. I tried fall, and I tried spring. And again, it was just, I think I'm going to have to do some practice with some of these cool flowers. But I have a few of them there, so that's good. And then I tried putting straw flower in. They grew so slowly, and they were so tiny when I put them in. So not a lot of success there. And then I had put some phlox in, and just the other day, I came out and realized there had been a mischief maker in this garden bed, which could have been a rabbit, but most likely was a little groundhog, because our groundhogs have reproduced. This whole area was actually dug up, and a lot of my phlox is gone. So I think this might be some phlox that was left. So hopefully it is, and it'll bounce back. But I did take the opportunity to just stick in, this is Saranth or honeywort in there that had been in its little containers for too long. So it's looking a little sad, but it should bounce back. Beyond that, I have Gumfrey now, which is starting the little blooms here. I'm trying, do I have, on the other side it says what kind this is, unfortunately. This one might be Strawberry Fields. I had two different kinds, I think a pink and a purple, so I can't remember. This might be the purple one, actually. And then the other variety, which might be the pink, is a lot smaller, so not blooming yet. Okay, beyond that is my root veggies for the year. I did some rutabaga. I have some only golden beets this year because those are our favorites. Last year I grew a lot of beets really successfully, and we just didn't end up using a lot of them. I tried to give a lot of them away, but my son and I are the only ones who really like them, and I really only like them roasted. They're not my favorite. So, but anyway, golden beets are my favorite of the beets. So golden beets, and then a bunch of carrots. You can see this area here is actually where the mischief maker was, so I tried to fill it in a little bit. I think it's going to need some more soil in there, and then I might try, there's also just a patchy area down here, and so I might try direct sowing a few more carrots there. But we have different varieties. We have, let's see, we also got to my sign here, but we started with the Danvers half long. Then we have Dragon, which is purple dragon, Napoli, which is new to me this year, and beyond that, the Parisienne, which I love. They're the little round balls. And then at the end here, I have some Feverfew, and these are also just about to burst into bloom. This one was fall planted. I had a couple fall planted ones, and then a couple spring planted ones as well. Okay, I've backed up just a little bit again so we can start on this side where the landscape fabric is. And now these have been in for about 3 weeks now. So I got them in early June. So we have tomatoes. These back here are Finger Lakes long tomatoes, and they are a variety from Fruition Seeds. My understanding is that they're not, I can't think of the word for it, but stabilized. They're not stabilized. So often when you get, a hybrid or an heirloom, it's been stabilized. And these, I think, are supposed to still have the characteristics of a long paste long paste tomato, but they might be different, and then they're encouraging you to save your own seeds from the ones that you like. And as you grow them and save seeds more, they'll become adapted to your environment, and you can choose what you like. So that's kind of an exciting thing they have going on. And I have a couple of their seeds from that project in here. In front of that is, I think it's the Greek dwarf basil, which I do love. I need to actually pinch all of my basil, so I'll be coming out one day this week and doing that, hopefully. Beyond, next to the Finger Lakes long paste tomatoes, I have some mini bell pepper plants. The ones on the right are not looking hot, so I'm going to need to check that out. In front of them, I believe I planted some bush green beans, and I'm not sure. I do need to weed that grass out. I'm not sure that they're coming up yet, so we'll keep an eye on that situation there. And then beyond that, we have some chiapas. They're tomatoes as well, and they're just like a red cherry tomato. I grew them last year and I enjoyed them. They're also from Fruition. The seeds are also from Fruition Seeds. And in front of that, I think it's another Greek dwarf basil. I do enjoy them. And some more green beans here. And there are a few coming up in this batch. You can see here. And I did have some different varieties of green beans that I kind of mixed up. So it's possible that some of the seeds were just older or not as viable. I'm not sure. So I may still have, if I have some left, any spots that I'm seeing in this next week, I'm going to come out and just refill in where I direct sowed what I have, so that we don't have a lot of blank spaces in here. Okay, more peppers here. These are King of the North peppers, which make a red bell pepper. You can also harvest them green. Beyond that, I have some more flowers. As you can see, I love mixing the flowers in. So we have cosmos in the back, and I am actually not 100% what type of cosmos those are. I didn't mark them, so that'll be a fun surprise. And in front of that, I did plant some Nicotiana. I'm not sure how it's doing, and I need to weed those spots. There's still some tiny plants alive in there, but definitely need to be weeded. And then I think this is the last type of pepper, I believe, that I have, and it's a Corbaci pepper, which are longer peppers. And all of these are sweet peppers because my family, my husband especially, and most of my kids do not like spicy things. And while I can do spicy things occasionally, they're not my favorite thing either. So I just don't do spicy peppers. Okay, so next we'll continue on with our tomatoes here. These are a Pianolo del Vesuvio, which are a paste tomato that I grew last year. I tried them out and I really enjoyed them. They were a lot smaller than I thought they would be. So they're like in between a cherry and maybe like a plum size, I guess, is probably the best way to describe them. But they taste really good and I'm really excited to grow more and use them hopefully for sauce. In front of that, I have some ground cherries that are actually working on making, even though they're super tiny. I probably should have picked that flower off. I didn't. So it's making a tiny ground cherry there. Hopefully you can see that. And these, I believe, are all Cossacks pineapple ground cherries. I ended up sowing a couple Aunt Molly's, but I think I mostly did Cossacks pineapple, and since I didn't label them, I'm guessing that's what they all are. Since we're here on this end, I'm gonna pan over to this bed for a minute, and then we'll come back to the sides. So here I planted a row of stock. Some of the ones over here were a lot smaller, and I don't know, that one there might not have survived. But some of them are growing really well. Let me come back over this way a little bit to show you. This is my first attempt at growing stock, and it looks like this one may give us some flowers, so that's exciting. There you go with that. That's my attempt there at a line of stock. The rest of this bed, well, there's zinnias on the other side, and I'll talk more about those in a minute, but I've got pumpkins planted in here. So there are, I think 6 varieties of pumpkins. We've got, I can't see the tags, so I'm going to do my best. I need to thin them because I think I planted a couple seeds in each hole. But I think there's Howden, and then Jarradale, and then a white and a Rouge Videton, which is like a reddish, kind of Cinderella-ish pumpkin. And then I've got 2 types of pie pumpkins in here. I've got New England Pie and Winter Luxury, and I need to resow. I don't know if you can see that hole there, but I'm going to mentally put that on my list. Okay, so moving back. So these were all, let's see, sorry, I'm hoping I'm doing this okay. So these were all, the tomatoes here were the Pianolo del Vesuvio, ground cherries in front of them. Okay, so then we have a Principe Borghese, which this is my first year growing this type. They're supposed to be really good for making sun-dried tomatoes, which I probably will end up doing in my oven really low instead of sun-drying them. But I do love sun-dried tomatoes, and I'm hoping to be able to have some to store in like an olive oil, and then use them because they're delicious. Okay, here are some dahlias, and I actually started these ones from seed, also from fruition. So I don't know what they're going to end up looking like, but I thought that could be fun. I'm now standing in the opening to the south gate, so we just moved a little bit over next to the dahlias here. So let me start with the zinnias. So last year I grew cosmos here, which were beautiful, but they ended up kind of flopping a lot, to be honest. And so I find the zinnias just hold up a little bit better, especially when planting in a group. I haven't grown them in this spot before though, so it's possible they'll flop as well, but we're trying it. And I don't have the labels for the exact varieties, but I started with the bright colors down here with a Country Fair blend. Just really fun bright colors, and moved into a unicorn mix, I believe, which is from Florette. And I think it's got like pinks and oranges, and it's beautiful. It's got some kind of ombre variations, which are just gorgeous. And then from there into the more muted colors, we have, I think, a Cinderella Peach, a Little Flower Girl, and then at the end here, I believe we have some white and or ivory. So that's how I did that. With the Snapdragons, kind of a similar thing, where I have the white or ivory, I can't remember, I think it's ivory. At the end here, I've got a lavender, a bridal pink here, so we're going the other direction, and an apple blossom, and then I think we have the Madame Butterfly bronze and bronze with white in here, which I'm really excited about. And they're just starting to like bud and color up a tiny bit here. And then at the end, I think we have some more, is it plums maybe? I can't remember 100% what kind that one is. I'll have to look at my notes. And then at the end we have a black prince, which is just starting. This one here is my first black prince to bloom. I did already bring some apple blossoms, I think, and some bridal pink in, but I'm really excited to have snapdragons again. I loved having them last year. Just so beautiful. Okay, we're gonna continue down the side. Here I've put some apricot lemonade cosmos. They are my absolute favorite cosmos. I did not end up having them in the potager last year. I had a couple that I put in late in the orchard that bloomed really late, so I'm hoping I get more of these this year. I'm really excited about it. I also did put a big drift in the orchard again as well this year. Okay, and then I have a lot of tomatoes to show you. So along here I have more paste tomatoes. These are Marzano Fire. In front of them I did direct sow some calendula, I believe, which I also need to weed these holes, but they're just starting to come up, these tiny calendula plants there. So there, yeah, there's 4, I believe, Marzano Fires. Then there's a little break for some basil. This is Thai basil, and my kids love to just eat it out of the garden. Beyond that, we have Amish paste tomatoes. Looks like there's 6 of those. And in front of those, I planted some nasturtiums. I think I put pink and purple nasturtiums here. Not 100% sure. We'll have to see it when they come up. I'm going to pause there and we'll come back to where those beans are because I want to show you these tomatoes here. And actually some cucumbers. So we're going to come all the way back over here. These are the same place we had tomatoes and cucumbers last year, if you've been following along. So this year I did the cucumbers a little bit differently. I have the same varieties actually, or mostly. Last year I did more of the pickling ones. This year I'm doing more of the silver slicer because I just liked it better. I also found that the pickles that we enjoyed the most were the bread and butter pickles, and I use the normal size cucumbers for that, not the pickling ones. So, but I am still growing the pickling ones because I like the little cucumbers. Let me start here on the edge. I actually direct sowed some dill. You can see one coming up here. And I may just stick some more dill seeds there when I come out and resow some things. There are cucumbers in some of these holes and not in others, and that is because I'm trying succession sowing. Last year we had a lot of my cucumber vines ended up, I think it was powdery mildew or something, took them out at some point. And so I'm trying a little bit of succession sowing. So these were planted about 3 weeks ago, and I think this week I'm going to go ahead and just do the others. So I've got 2 of the silver slicer here. I also need to thin them. I left 2 more holes for silver slicer. Excuse my shadow. And then 1 of salt and pepper. I'll add another one of those, and 1 of national pickling, and I'll add another one of those. Okay, we're going to turn around here. The next row. So last year I had essentially a row here of cherry tomatoes, a row of paste tomatoes, and then a row of slicer tomatoes. I did it a little differently this year. I wanted to do it by color. So this is actually a row of yellow tomatoes. And on the ends here, I think this is just a Genovese. Maybe? No. This might be the large leaf, I think, actually, basil here with it. I loved underplanting it with basil, and so I'm doing that again. And they're in the same place as last year. I'm not really concerned about the rotating right now. I might do 1 more year of them here. I might change it up. We'll see. We'll see. Worry about that next year. I did plant some marigold at the end. And then, so these are a sunrise bumblebee here, 2 of those. They are a large cherry tomato that are yellow with orange, and we enjoy them. It's like a yellow-orange thing here, really going on. There's an orange banana plum, which is a new paste tomato that I'm trying. I think they're supposed to be paste, but they're plum size. And then at the end here, we have our Dr. Witches, whatever you want to call it. My daughter and I love it, and that's a slicer tomato, actually. So that's what that is there. And another marigold at the end. The 2 ends, I should have said there's dill on the other side too. Each end is matching the other side, if that makes sense. Okay. Then I was going to do a red row and a purple row, but most of my reds are paste, and I wanted more of those and to keep them together. And in these rows, we only have 2 of each variety. And so this is actually, there's 2 purple rows. So I did put my purple opal basil in this one. And then, let's see, we've got 2 purple Russian tomatoes, which are kind of like a paste tomato. I didn't grow them last couple of years. I haven't been able to find the seeds. I had some old seeds, so I want to try I need to tie that one up, actually, that one there. But I want to try to save the seeds from it. So it may not be exactly the same, but I did really enjoy it. And so hopefully I can try to do that. But anyways, that's Purple Russian. It's kind of like a paste-sized tomato, and I enjoy it. Then we have blueberries, which are the red cherry tomatoes that turn blue where the sun hits them. Then we have Paul Robeson, which is a slicer tomato. Those plants are looking really healthy. I'm happy with that. On the ends here, I did plant some borage. So these ones are farther ahead than the other side because I think the other side were covered by some weeds that I just took care of today. So hopefully they'll grow more now. Moving on here, these are more purple varieties of tomatoes, but not of basil. So this is just the Genovese sweet basil. And at the end, I think I put a red nasturtium on either end here. I have some blue cream berries. These are the yellow cherry tomatoes that turn blue in the sun. I had some tomato growing issues this year, guys. So I had started my tomatoes, all very happy, went to pot them up, and I ran out of potting soil for some of them. So some of them, about a third of them, got started in seed starting mix. Tomatoes that I put in the potting mix did not do well at all. Some of them I ended up repotting into seed starting mix, and others I ended up starting from scratch. So I can't remember which one was these purple bumblebee tomatoes that are right here. I said they were blue cream. They're not. They're purple bumblebee. Sorry, but they're kind of a big cherry tomato, with purple-ish on them, I guess, if that makes sense. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, they're very small, but I have seen growth since I've put them in the ground, to be honest, which is sad. I wasn't sure they were going to survive. So I'm hopeful that they'll grow and we'll get some plants off them. So next we have Cherokee Purple, and then at this end we do have the Blue Cream, which are the yellow that turn purple in the sun. So that is what we've got for this tomato bed, and I think there's a couple more tomatoes elsewhere, and I'll show you those when we get there. Okay, but that's a vast majority of tomatoes already covered. All right, we're back to where we left off on the side here. So here are some black beans that we're growing, bush black beans. And I think I didn't have any seeds left for them, and I wanted to try them, so I actually just used organic black beans from the store, and I soaked them, and I've gotten okay germination. Again, any spots that aren't coming up, we'll just try again. I did soak them. So, okay. Then moving on, I've got some ping tongue eggplants back here. And some more purple basil in front of them. I think this is a different variety. These might be a purple amethyst basil. Then cannellini beans, same deal as the black beans. I did not have many seeds left, so I used the seeds from my pantry. And they're coming up really well. Then we've got more eggplant here. This is Listata de Gandia. So both of these kind of eggplants are in the smaller side, so they have more time to grow here in our northern short season. And more purple basil in front of them. Here I have some nasturtiums I planted back here. The ones next to the fence are a trailing nasturtium, so I'm hoping to train them up the fence. And then I can't remember what variety I put in front of them, but it's another variety, and we'll find out later. All along the back here, I planted pole green beans. So there's a couple of different varieties. There's the Emirate, Sychillas. I thought there was one other variety, but maybe not. Those might be the two. All along the side. And there's really spotty germination with these. I need to come in and weed. I've been watering them. So I'm just trying to be patient. You can see they're coming up really well here. But then as we go down, it's very spotty germination. So there's that. While we're here, let me just address the giant thistle that's happening in front of us. So this is my asparagus bed, and it's really sad, and I haven't weeded it, and there's a lot of thistle in there, and I do need to really cut it before it's about to flower, so at least before it flowers. I was scared to dig it up this spring because I didn't want to disturb the asparagus. Yep, this is just one of my problem areas, and it's sad, but the asparagus did grow up through. You can actually see some of the fronds, so I'm going to hopefully do some more intensive weeding, digging out some thistle at a later point in time this year, and we'll see where we go from there. So I need to figure out what I'm doing with the asparagus, but I'm thinking on it. I am very good at growing thistle, though, so there's that. That glorious plant in front of us, there's actually two of them, is mullein, which is a wonderful medicinal plant. The leaves are very soft. Sorry for the noise. and it gets yellow flowers on this stalk. At some point I will do a tour talking about the herbs I'm growing medicinally, but either way, this is beautiful. These actually self-sowed here. But moving on from the mullein, I actually just planted up these beds here today. So these are kind of an experiment for me. It's just soil with a heavy load of hay on top. So here I have some cosmos, a mix of different kinds that I had left over. Then I have 2 tomatoes left here. These are my last 2 in the potager. There's I don't know which one's which, but there's a purple, a Cherokee purple and a Paul Robeson. So we'll just find out when those grow. And I did stick some marigolds in there next to them. And then over here, these holes here, I sowed some sunflower seeds. So hopefully that will be really nice come the fall. I do have stacks of straw everywhere. I get these from the local nursery. They've worked really well. They're made for mulching, so they're not sprayed with stuff. So there sometimes are some grass that comes up in them, but they're easy to pull. Okay, this is another bed I just turned over. So I'll put pictures in here of what it looked like. This had tulips and hyacinths in it this spring that came up, and they were beautiful. And so I think I'll do a bigger, longer raised bed of them next year. That worked really well for cutting. So the alliums have been in there towards the back there's some alliums, and then I just put in some lemon and blue spice basil, which I mainly use for arranging. And then in front of that I did put some greens because I realized I hadn't put greens anywhere. And we eat a lot of greens, and I've been buying them at the store, and I was like, why am I not growing them? So put some greens in there, some arugula, spinach, clatonia, mache, and then a lettuce mix. So those were just sown today, and hopefully they will come up nicely. And I sowed them pretty heavily, so they should fill up the space. In the raised bed in front of that, we have some garlic. So this is actually, all the ones you see are hardneck garlic. And there's a couple different varieties. This area here was my soft neck garlic, and it just didn't come up. And this is my 3rd year growing garlic, and that hasn't happened before. So I don't know what was going on with that, but I'll purchase some more this year. The soft neck doesn't grow as well in my zone as the hard neck, but it does store better, and I enjoy it, so I'm going to try again. But I just put in some red cabbages in here. They look beautiful, actually. So the 3 different kinds I have, these are a red or purple garlic, I guess. I think they're a rock and bowl type, but there was 2 different types I had, and they kind of got mixed up because I saved these seeds myself, or cloves. So it's a red garlic generally. I'm trying music garlic this year because I just really liked the name, so that's new to me this year. And then this is a German extra hardy white, and they're really strong, vigorous, I think great for medicinal use. These all just had scapes. I've been working, I think I got most of them. There might be a couple left in there for me to get later, but I harvested a bunch of them yesterday, so we're at that point. I did use a fruition seed fertilizer in the fall and the spring on these, and I think I gave them fish emulsion once, and I'm not sure if I should give it one more time or just let them go now, because it's almost harvesting time, a couple weeks I think. Okay, instead of continuing right on there with the raised beds that way, I think we're going to go this way instead and weave our way through and come back to them. So let's talk about my herb beds a little bit, because I usually neglect them. So this is my medicinal herb bed. It's really still in progress. Here I have some comfrey. It was really big and flopping, so I cut a lot of that, and it's actually surrounding the new shoots coming up right now. I might move those at some point, but I know it's really good as a mulch, so I just stuck it there for the time being. We'll see how fast it decomposes, but I probably will have to move it to the compost at some point. Then I have some hyssop here. This is anise hyssop, also known as agastache, and it gets these purple spiky blooms, and it's kind of like a licorice smell. That's how I would describe it. Then we have hyssop officinalis here, so just regular hyssop, which also has spiky purple blooms, but you can see that the plants look very different. So that's kind of fun. I did purposely put them next to each other. Yes, and I enjoy that. I've got some chamomile over here. Last year, none of my chamomile grew. I kept reseeding it and none of it grew. So this year, I have a lot more chamomile. I'm happy about that. I have some tiny feverfew plants in here that I put in that they're still alive. Hopefully they will start growing a little faster. And a catnip here. I did have a big catnip. If you remember from past years, in the middle of this bed, there was a huge catnip. I'll see if I can find a picture to put in here. And it died last year. I think it got powdery mildew or something, but it was not coming back this spring. So I started another one from seed, and There it is, tiny. I have this echinacea. It kind of dried out. I did water it when I planted it and today, and so hopefully at some point it will revive. It's only been, I can't remember if I put it in yesterday or the day before, so hopefully it'll be okay. But it's a coneflower echinacea there, medicinally often used for root. The roots are used in tinctures and stuff. I got another chamomile I snuck in there, and then that's some holy basil back there, which is an annual for us, but in some places it's perennial. And then I put some yarrow in a pot because we get yarrow growing everywhere. It's kind of invasive here, but it is a medicinal herb, so I just put it in a pot there for right now. I have chives here, and also on the edge of that bed, which I will, let's actually do the middle first here. This is my herb circle. So I have a bunch of different herbs here in the circle. So in the middle, you can see some lavender. That's a mudstud lavender. That's the fine kind. It's the variety I find grows the best here because we do get kind of cold and it is very wet. So it's not ideal lavender conditions, but that came back from last year, so that's exciting. I've got my lady's mantle here is flowering and it looks beautiful. I have a lemon balm. This is supposed to be where calendula is, and I think there's some tiny seedlings in there, so hopefully they'll come up. Last year I had lots of chamomile, or lots of calendula, no chamomile here, so this year I've got a lot of chamomile and lacking the calendula, but it's in other places. I'm hoping it'll come up there. Now I will also try to resow some. I've got a tiny St. John's wort here. This is supposed to be perennial for us. I had a tiny one last year that didn't make it, so hopefully this one grows a little bit more and then we'll come back. That's the hope. I've got another holy basil here. I did stick some little violets around the edges here, so there's some of them. This one looks really pretty. It actually probably looks cuter from this angle over here. There it is. And I have some thyme and sage. I have had thyme and sage in here the last few years, but the sage had completely overtaken. It was looking really, they were both looking really scraggly, and I think I just needed a refresh. It was like they were here for 3 years, I think, and so I got some new sage and German thyme there for this year. And then the final herb bed over here is culinary herbs. There is some milkweed growing in the front that I'm leaving. I occasionally will pull milkweed out when it's in the way of something, but mostly I like to try to leave it because it's so good for the monarchs. I have a lot of herbs in here. There's oregano, savory, more thyme, different kinds of thyme. There's like a lemon thyme and a variegated thyme, and a couple kinds of sage that are new. I've got my dill there. I just seeded some more cilantro. Some I had didn't survive. Then I'm going to seed more dill. I've got parsley. So there's a lot of stuff happening here. I'm hoping to put a pot of rosemary there. I've got the rosemary's waiting for me to do that so that it echoes the other side here with the yarrow. So that is that herb bed. Trying to go a little bit faster because I do need to get inside and do dinner at some point. So this is the pea and bean teepee, and right now it has sugar snap peas on it, and it looks like we're just starting to get some. Very excited. Those are my garden snack. I think I saw one or two. Yeah, here's some beans coming up. I'd like to see more. They're coming up very slowly, so hopefully we'll see more in the coming days. All right, since we are weaving our way through, let's talk about this bed a little bit. There are several beds around. Let me talk first. First, I'm going to show you the quince tree. So this is the quince tree. The area around it is a mess. I got to dig out that thistle, but we have some alliums blooming here. We also had daffodils again in the spring that are beautiful. I hope I took a picture, and if so, I'll put it in here. And then we seem to be getting more quince fruits this year. So you can see that. That is exciting. Last year we had one quince fruit and I wasn't sure when it was ripe, so I was waiting and waiting, and then something else ate it before I got to it. So hopefully this year I can get to the quince and figure out when they're ripe and get them before, or at least most of them before animals. I don't mind sharing a little bit, but I would like a little bit of something. Okay, let's do around this area around the quince bed. So we've got several. These are kind of my more designed beds, if you will, around the quince tree in the spirit of the potager. So it doesn't look like a lot now, but inside each there is a vining plant of some sort, or several, and then around the long edges have marigolds. So they're very small right now, but by, end of August, they will fill up the edges and the vine plants will probably be filling up and spilling out of the beds. So that is the vision I have for this. But right now, we've got tiny marigolds in there. And this bed is small squash plants. So there is acorn squash, spaghetti squash. Is that the only two types? I think so. I decided not to grow honey nut this year. They were really cute, but they weren't, you know what? I didn't love the flavor. I might have stuck a butternut squash somewhere. I don't remember, but there's definitely a bunch of spaghetti squash and acorn squash in there. This bed also has marigolds along the edges, and it has watermelons. So there are 3 different varieties: Blacktail Mountain, Sweet Siberian, which is like an orange one, and Sugar Baby. And these are all supposed to be short season, so hopefully we'll get some watermelons by the end of the year. We'll see. These were all these squash watermelons I'm talking about were direct sown, so that's why they're just poking up now. And then this bed here has marigolds along the edge, and it has zucchini plants in it. And then there were some calendula and dill coming back. A lot of the dill I tried to weedle around and didn't really like that. So I don't know what that is there. There's something decomposing. I think it's a decomposing plant root. Anyway, this is a calendula that came back, that volunteered, if you will. And then there's this dill plant over here. And then I actually ended up sowing more dill in these holes. I think it's coming back. We had some glorious dill plants that had volunteered from last year, and I accidentally killed them when I was trying to weed around them. So there's that. While we're over here, I'm gonna just do this bed, and then we'll go around to the back. So this changed a little bit from the plan, not hugely, but if you watched my plan video this past winter, I decided to actually make this bed a little bit bigger, and then I'm gonna make a walkway along the edge. I need to weed whack it. My mower actually broke on me, which is really slowing me down with things. So I've had to weed whack things. Yes, I don't know if I'll get a new one this year. I was hoping to be able to wait till next year. So we'll see how it goes. I am going to put more landscape fabric in the paths as well, so that I can not have to spend as much time worrying about mowing and the grass coming in and the weeds coming into my plants. So the eventual goal is to have landscape fabric and probably mulch in the paths, and then not have landscape fabric in the beds and really work on the soil. But this is what I'm doing for right now, because we have the horrible grass that can live through everything. So this is just how I'm able to garden now without being really sad. So, okay, but because I was going to put sunflowers along the edge and I changed it, we now have sunflowers over here. So there's several small rows of sunflowers, many different kinds. I'm excited about especially the Pro Cut Plum, so we'll see. I tried to do it by height. I was going to try to stagger them and do succession sowings, but this is what I've got right now. So I didn't. That's just the way it is. All right, then I've got these blocks, and these are different kinds of popcorn, so they may mix with each other, and I'm just okay with that. So we've got like from Fruition Seeds, it's supposed to be a baby corn, like you can harvest it as baby corn or popcorn, so I'm going to try that. And then we've got I think a blue popcorn and a red popcorn, which I actually had. They were like organic popcorn from the grocery store, the co-op that I go to. And so I did a germination test, and they germinated, so I'm planting and growing them. Don't know what they're going to look like. Very excited about it. And then here is glass gem corn. And then I do have some different pumpkins and squash around. I didn't label them. I think I'll know when they come up, but I think there's like Winter Luxury, New England Pie. I have, I think, spaghetti squash back there because I wanted more of them. And then my Rouge Vidaton, because they are my favorite pumpkins. They're also just delicious. And a little milkweed there. That tub is actually sand and sand toys. It is a way to keep my now 3-year-old occupied in the garden. It works relatively well, but she recently has been a little bit of a menace stepping on plants and stuff. So we're trying to address that, but it's hard to be on top of her while I'm planting. So I mainly have just been working while my husband can watch her. But it does work a little bit. So there's that. This area here, okay, is not going to be planted this year, and including back there. I did plan first for it in my plan, but quickly realized that it just wasn't going to happen. So I adjusted my plan a little bit. And what I want to do now in this area, once I get to it, is weed whack for this year. Put landscape fabric down there as well in this section, and put a table and chairs in this area. And I may in the future put like some pots or some other things, like some fun features, but so that I can sit in the middle of the garden. And then back there was going to be some more flowers. I have a lot of flowers, so it's okay. There are some types that I didn't get in this year, and that's okay because I can just try it next year. But that might turn into more of a perennial place. You can see my really large elder. We'll actually get to that in a little bit, but I need to clean that area up. So this is my big haven't been cleaned up area in addition to the asparagus bed. But the rest of it looks lovely, so we'll just move on. Oh, we don't want to forget this bed in the middle here. This is my edible flower bed, and I started cutting pieces for my bench, but didn't finish. And again, need to get on that, and hopefully by the end of the season we'll finally have that made. But I did put a bunch of edible flowers in here. So this one's a perennial, and this is bee balm or bergamot, and I think it's a lemon bergamot, and it has purple flowers. It's beautiful. And then I have random things in here. So there's some bachelor buttons in there, some violets, some borage, some nasturtiums. Over here we've got some marigolds and calendula, more violets over there. Alyssum, there's sweet alyssum. Oh, actually this sweet alyssum is actually already in bloom. So cute. Yeah, so it's shaping up really well. And then again, there's supposed to be a bench in the middle so I can sit and enjoy. So that is my edible flower bed. We have a few blooms going on, but hopefully there will be a lot more in a month or so. All right, this bed is really fun. It was fun last year as well. Last year I put sunflowers along the side and amaranth along the other side, and then it was filled with zucchini. My zucchini did great here, and you could see this sunflower here is actually a volunteer. So I left it. I was like, "You look like a sunflower," and I'm pretty sure it is. So I left that sunflower there. And then this is just like another fun creative bed for me. So in the front here I have some beans. I have some red swan and some dragon's tongue beans here. I don't know if you can see them. Mixed in, in the middle I also have some of the dahlias. I started from seeds. So same as what we saw by the gate over there. And then I did a fun pattern along the edge. So I don't know if you can tell what it is, but there's chard. This one has holes, but that's okay. We will eat it anyway. I should probably pull some of those leaves off. We'll just dispose of the worst ones. So there's chard, there's calendula, and there's kale. Kind of in a bit of a pattern in here. And I have started harvesting some of the kale and chard, and we'll get to it, but I actually have my first calendula bloom. Just watch for it here. There it is. Hello, little calendula. So I'm excited. I will definitely have some calendula in my garden this year. I thought that was a really fun bed. It's kind of my creative bed. It's different than last year, but still allows me to, just be creative. And I'm a very creative person, and so that's why my garden isn't just a big market garden with rows. I wanted it to be kind of fun and be able to use my creativity in it. So, all right, let's come back to these raised beds where we were. This bed here is lovely. I'm going to put another picture in here because I have cut so much of this ranunculus, and it's ranunculus and anemones. It's my first year growing them, and I'm so excited to get blooms. They are so beautiful. The ranunculus especially lasts really long in the vase. Comes in so many beautiful colors. I'm like so happy with them, and I need to grow more next year. So this might be another long bed again next year along with my tulips. Very, very pleased with this. Yes, I was not sure it was going to work, but it did. Okay, beyond that, we have brassicas. Now, until this morning, actually, these were under a net. But the issue I had with the netting was thus. I could not weed. I was coming out here. You could still see there's like lots of weeds in this bed too. But I actually have been picking the worst of them. So there's some thistle that was coming up, especially in this ranunculus area here, and some other weeds. So I've been picking the worst of them so that the plants can grow okay. But because I had, I put the netting on and I had it secure so that the cabbage moth and bugs couldn't get in. And then I couldn't weed. So especially on the right side there, the weeds had grown up and were shading out all of the this kohlrabi on the end there. So I decided to take it off. I did get some super hoops, so I might come back out, but now that it's exposed, I don't know if I'm going to trap cabbage whites in there. These plants are relatively large, so even if they get some cabbage white damage, I don't think it'll really injure them too much. So I'm probably just going to leave them out now. I did water them with some fish emulsion today. So these ones over here are looking really good, but the ones over here, my kohlrabi, aren't looking as hot, which is sad to me because these are fruition seed mermaid tail cabbage, and it's part of their, the seed saving ideas. These ones actually look like, I don't know if they're just dirty or if that's eggs. And that was from this morning. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll keep an eye on these. Okay, moving on from these beds, in the back here, this is kind of exciting. These are my Ruth Stout beds. Now, this is my first year trying this. Basically, the idea is these are potatoes and sweet potatoes. These potatoes here, I just put down some soil, nestled the potatoes kind of into the soil, not buried all the way, then put straw on top. And then I recently hilled it up with a little bit more straw. And these are Keuka Gold potatoes. I just had a few extra from the bed I'm going to show you in a minute. And so that's seeming to work well. And then I put these in today. These are sweet potato slips. Hopefully they'll have enough time to grow. I believe they're a Covington variety. I actually, again, our co-op had, organic, locally grown sweet potatoes. And so I figured if they're locally grown, the best type to get. And so I got some and just tried to create my own slips, thinking, if I can always order some if it doesn't work. And it worked beautifully. So I just... it's been a little while, but I just got them in the ground today. There's soil under here and then really a thick layer of straw, and I have more straw, as you probably saw, so I can pile more on if it's necessary to keep the weeds down. That is my magnificent elder there. I harvested so many elderflowers this season, so I've got some drying. They're mostly dry already. I just need to put them away to store them. And then I actually also made an elderflower syrup, and I canned some, and I made a strawberry elderflower soda with some. It has such a unique smell. It's so delicate. I don't know how to describe it, but this I have more elders on the other side, and I'm going to be doing a separate video on my orchard and berry garden and rose circles. So keep your eye out for that. But this one is so floriferous that I didn't feel bad taking a bunch of the flowers this year. So it looks like I will have plenty of berries to harvest and to share with the birds. So I'm excited for that. Last part of the garden here is these two raised beds. This is potatoes, and this one's actually flowering, which is kind of fun. Get to see the potato flower. I've jammed packed a lot of potatoes in here in these beds. So there's kind of two sides to these beds. I've got 2 rows of Keuka Gold, which is the same kind as you saw over there, and then 1 row of red Norland, which are an earlier potato, and they don't store well. So I'm trying different kinds here. And then on that side, I have an Adirondack blue on the left and an Adirondack red on the right. The kids are very excited about those ones. And then here is my onion bed, and there's some really good looking ones over there. A lot of them didn't survive. I had, over 200 seedlings, and I definitely don't have, even when I was putting them in, not a ton of them survived, and they were so tiny. And then, yeah, so, yes, I recently really thoroughly weeded this. Weeds have been a real problem. And so I think some of them flopped over because of that. Hopefully they'll survive. And I put some cosmos at the end here. And I believe these are cupcake blush cosmos. Okay, my friends, that is our first garden tour of this 2022 year. And I hope you enjoyed seeing my potager here. It's been a labor of love. Lots of time has gone in here. All the extra time I can squeeze in with my 4 kids around. And hopefully soon I will show you the other side where I have been doing a rose circle in my berry garden. And but there's a lot more work that needs to be done over there. So I'm hoping to get some of it done first. But even if it's not done, I do promise to show you soon. Until next time, happy gardening.